The power of YouTube is mind-blowing, but it's such an untapped resource, guys. In most markets, you have thousands of agents you're competing with.
You have to be finding things that are going to set you apart. Like, I don't need to know your life story. If I scroll in that video and you're not hitting me with something I want to see, boom, I'm on to the next video.
Sometimes people think about, like, should we monetize our channel?
What kind of money do you make off of it?
I think I was hovering around like 100.
All right, here we are, episode 3 of Pardon Our Disruption. My name is John Arroyo, LPT Realty, Panama City Beach in 38. This is my partner, Levi. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? Another day. Let's get to it.
Yeah. No, it's been an interesting week for me. I don't know how it's been for you. Both of us have YouTube channels that are pretty successful in our locations. And, the whole BBA thing's kind of thrown me for a loop. We were actually talking before we went on, and I was asking you questions as you're my mentor about how you're handling the situation. A lot of our YouTube leads that come in, they don't see the property. We don't go out and show them because the fact of the matter is they're not here most of the time. It's mostly out-of-town investors. And I asked Levi, what do you think about the BBA agreement, and when should we pass off that paperwork to our YouTube clients?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's definitely interesting times, right? It's changed. It's definitely different. The good thing about the YouTube channel for us is just that these people kind of have already gravitated towards us. They feel like they know us and they like us enough to reach out. So it's such a warm lead, right? Versus kind of more traditional methods of cold calling. If you're trying to get buyers, from Zillow leads and things like that, that's going to be a harder convert. We kind of have a relationship with them. Even though we don't know them, they're calling us and saying, hey, I watched a bunch of your videos, feel like I know you. The cool thing is you do not have to get somebody to sign a buyer broker agreement just to have a conversation. That would be ridiculous. No one would do that, right? I mean, it's like going to a lawyer and committing before you get to talk to the lawyer about anything. So we can have those conversations. Where you want to bring this in is, according to the settlement, is just that you cannot physically show them properties. You cannot meet and go open a door. And I believe that includes virtually as well. So once that's time,
that was my question to you. So a lot of times that's the way it works. Okay. So we send them a list of 6 or 7 properties that we think they might be attracted to. They find a couple and say, hey, can you go out and tour this property for us? At that point is when we're having them sign the BBA.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because it's a mutual commitment, and this is required. You can just tell anybody that regardless of what agent you work with or what agent you have go and do that tour, they're going to have to present this to you. If not, they're not following the rules. And again, it's a mutual relationship. It doesn't have to be a weird thing. It's, I'm asking you to commit to me, and in return, I'm going to give you all of my efforts, my energy, my knowledge, and be of value to you. And I told John before this is like, you can tell clients, look, if I'm not up to your expectations, if I'm not delivering everything that you think is worth the value, break up with me, okay? This does not, absolutely lock you in. You can break this contract. Now, if I show you a property and you write an offer, of course, we're locked in. But if you're not happy with my services, this is not a big pressure approach. It's just saying we're going to commit to each other. And in return, I'm going to crank up my efforts for you as well.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people on these real estate mastermind pages. I don't know why they call them masterminds on Facebook, because there's literally a very lack of thought hanging on to every post on these groups. But people are just like, man, the sky is falling. Everybody's freaking out about this. And it's like, guys, just calm down. Like, all you have to do is have them sign the paperwork and explain the paperwork at the front end. Not that hard to do, right? I mean, this is just a conversation that you would have on any listing appointment that you go with. Hey, look, this is how I make my money. 3% is what I'm asking on the front end. It's all a negotiation. If we can, I'm definitely going to have the seller try and pay for that. But, this is what I get paid to do, and this is what I'm going to offer you. It's just a simple conversation. And I think people get so caught up in the fact that maybe they don't like talking about money. Well, that's our job as realtors. Our job is to take care of people's number one asset that they have. And if you're not willing to have that discussion with people about money and about how you get paid and know your worth, then what are you doing in the business? Do you think we're going to lose a lot of agents during this time?
I think for some, they're going to struggle, right? Some people just cannot handle change. They just don't want anything to change. They've been comfortable. Um, to me, it's no different than listing appointments, right? I mean, that's the part where you go and have the negotiation part. Any listing appointment, you're negotiating that commission up front. So now there's just an element of that to the buyer side. But again, I don't believe that sellers are going to stop paying commissions. That's just not going to happen. And buyers aren't going to go unrepresented. So what I'm seeing a lot of agents do is they're calling realtors and saying, hey, what's the commission? And some agents are just saying, well, bring me an offer. I'm not going to even give that information. If it's up to me, I actually just wrote an offer last week, and I did not even bother calling the agent because it's irrelevant. It all comes down to negotiation. What will the seller do? It's just like calling an agent and saying, hey, what's the bottom line? You don't really know until you start negotiating. So just send over the commission agreement. It's that simple. They may counter it a little bit. The one I did, they just signed it in a heartbeat, 3%. They did not even ask a single question about it. So it just went right with the offer. 3%, I'm happy with that. That's better than I'm seeing 2.5%, 2%. So guys, just send it.
Yeah, agree. Getting away from that now, talking about YouTube,
Yes.
and that's what today's discussion is about. We're really trying to dive into YouTube, into analytics. We talked a lot about it last week. Guys, the thing is right now it's a slow market, and during a slow market, you have to be finding things that are going to set you apart. Levi and I both are setting appointments weekly. I mean, I'm getting on average probably 2 leads a weekend. I started my YouTube channel back in January. I don't know how many you're doing, but look, man, it's not doing well right now. Our business is not doing well. If you can survive and thrive in this sort of environment, when the tide changes, we're going to be very busy people. How are we doing that? And what do we use for analytics to show our value? Well, what do we use for analytics, and how are we using YouTube to reach the most people and have those people that are interested in buying now contact us?
Yeah. So, like you said last week, go back and watch the other video we just did. It was a little bit more of the broad spectrum of YouTube, maybe starting a channel, what equipment you might need, editing, whether that's paying someone to edit the videos. There's a little bit of back end work in getting this thing started, but it's such an untapped resource, guys. If you look in your market and type in, pros and cons of living in your city, maybe you type in, best neighborhoods, chances are there's only maybe 2, 3, 4 people doing this in your market. And that's mind blowing because in most markets, you have thousands of agents you're competing with. And some of those agents are probably not doing that great of a job, or, people might gravitate towards you just because your style, your presentation, people like who they like, right? And so you can dominate this even if there's somebody else who's crushing it. That's a common misbelief. Don't go on there and think like, oh, there's somebody else, they already do it good, there's no need for me. No, you always have your own value. And again, people are going to like you for who you are. But we want to jump into like the actual kind of nitty gritty today, a little bit more of like things that help get the videos and the channel to be effective. The algorithm of YouTube, if you will, or called the analytics. And I've heard this before, analytics or the algorithm is really just like a fancy way of saying audience and retention. Because that is, if you want to simplify it down, that's it. It's those two, retention and audience. So
we're actually Levi, we're
sharing
sharing your screen right now. I just want to talk to you about your screen and what it looks like. Okay, so guys, when I started my channel back in January, it was only a dream of mine to have a channel like his. He has been performing steadily for a very long time. Were you the first one in this market to have a living in channel?
No, not at all. Like I said, I mean, that just goes to show too, when I checked in, there was already a couple people. There's one person in particular that kind of seemed to be, dominating, if you will. But I thought, the videos could be way better. He was spending most of his time blabbing at the camera, not really showing the city or what he was talking about. But there just wasn't a lot of competition. So if you're somebody relocating to the area, you're going to watch what you have. It's funny, I was with my wife just the other day, and we're going to visit some family in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. this Saturday. And so what do? I'm like, I want to look up, somebody who shows a cool video of the city. I've never been there. There wasn't any. I'm like, man, if there was a realtor there that was just showing the city, I mean, there was nothing good. It just depends on your market. But yeah, I have, we'll look at my channel and John's channel. One thing that I have been really guilty of recently is I have not put out a video in quite some time. And that's not a brag. That's actually bad on me. But just to show you a testament, I mean, it's still, this is the last 48 hours, 1,263 views. And this is pretty consistent. On the weekends, that goes up. Sometimes you can hit 2,000. Imagine that when you're sleeping,
I remember the very first time that you showed me yours, I was like, oh man, I so want to be there one day. And you're like, dude, you're going to be there one day. And sure enough, I got there. And that's the beautiful part about YouTube, guys. Once you create this content, it just starts going by itself. There's no need to pay. These aren't paid ads. This is all organic growth. And it continues to go at its own pace. And as you can see at the top there, it says looking good. Your numbers have stayed steady. So even without releasing a video in the last year, Levi is still getting this kind of production out of his channel, which is awesome for him. And you know what? It makes me feel really good because I've been working my tail off since January, getting my YouTube channel off. And now I feel like I have reached that level that Levi's at. And I know if I get busy and I don't hit a video every week, I can kind of slide back a little bit and let YouTube do its job, right?
You really can. That's what's incredible about it. I mean, you're creating something that is evergreen. And because as long as it's still relevant, which most of the time, if you're showing a city, it's not like downtown's going to change overnight. You know what I mean? Maybe there's a new restaurant every 6 months, but like as a whole, you're just given the vibe of the city. It's something you create that compounds and lasts forever. I think in the last video we touched on, like, if you look up how to tie a tie on YouTube, the number one video is like 16 years old and it has 30 million views because it's just straight to the point and it's relevant. How to tie a tie hasn't changed. And that just shows the power of YouTube. But,
what are we looking at here, Levi?
Okay. So this is kind of audience here, plus 127 subscribers. This is the last 28 days. Unique viewers. So in just under the last month, I've had almost 16,000 people watch, my videos or my channel. That's incredible prospecting. And you have to understand that these people are watching sometimes, the average video is maybe about 10 minutes. A lot of times they're binge watching. John's much better than me. He has, longer videos, which I think not only does YouTube like that because it keeps them on YouTube longer. That's what YouTube wants. They want people to stay on YouTube. But imagine, somebody being able to watch you they watch several of your videos. They're going to watch you for a couple hours. They feel like they know you. They learn to like you. You're showing them what they want, so you're giving them value. But we were going to talk about the analytics today, and like on the surface, there's really two components to doing well in the algorithm: to having your videos show up near the top, to getting a lot of views, and it just comes down to click-through rate, which we can look at here. The click-through rate is basically going to be the title and the thumbnail. So you want the thumbnail to stand out. Think about yourself when you're viewing and you're on YouTube looking for something, right? How to fix a car, blah, 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 whatever it is. Usually the thumbnail kind of grabs your attention first. You want it to be kind of clean, simple, straightforward, popping, and then the title. And one thing is you typically want the title to potentially say something a little bit different than the thumbnail. It's kind of like an opportunity to say two things. Like, Pensacola areas explained, where should you live? Or like, you have to see this, something like that, that catches. It's sort of clickbait, if you will, but this matters.
Yeah, I've noticed personally, Levi, that when you put negative stuff in the title, for some reason, it's just like the old saying on the news, if it bleeds, it leads. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way YouTube works too. I mean, if people see something negative, they're more inclined to click that. Now, Levi's the king of click-through rate as far as I'm concerned. He's much better at creating thumbnails. That's why he creates thumbnails for this page. But no, some great information. Keep on going, Levi. I don't want to stop you. I just want to interject.
Yeah, no, you're fine. That's the truth. Like you said, unfortunately, again, guys, just always like put yourself in your own shoes. When you're on Facebook scrolling, you're on Instagram, more often than not, if something triggers your emotions, you stop. As much as we love to see cat videos and smiling dogs, like we watch those, but you're going to stop at the video that kind of makes your heart jump or like something alarming, and so you can kind of incorporate that into your videos as well, like avoid these areas or like don't do this, something like that is going to make somebody go, well, what is that? I want to see it. But so think about it this way. You could have the best video in the world, right? Spend hours and hours and hours, developing it, putting it together, paying someone to edit it or edit it yourself. And you've created this, what you believe to be a masterpiece. If you do not get people to click on it, YouTube will get tired of promoting it. That's just kind of that simple, and I like simplicity in things. We don't need to overanalyze this, but so you've got to work on the thumbnail and the click-through rate because they'll only promote it for so long. They're going to shove it in front of people. And if everybody just keeps not clicking it, they're going to give up and stop promoting it. So that is the key number one to the algorithm is click-through rate and thumbnail and title. It's kind of grouped into one. And so the other aspect to that is, of course, the actual video itself, the content. And so, once you're successfully getting people to click on the video, it looks like it's what they're wanting to find, full tour and guide. Here's just an example. Then you want people to engage in the video. You want them to stay on it for as long as possible. That's what tells YouTube that this is what people are looking for. They're searching it, they click it, and they stay on it. If they're clicking off in 30 seconds or a minute or what have you, that's going to affect YouTube's algorithm. They're just going to say, well, this must not be relevant to what people are looking for.
What is your average view time on your most popular video? If you don't mind me asking, what is your average view time watched on your most popular video?
It's a good question. Let me see here. So I think my most popular video is actually Destin, Florida. And it's not a long video, so I don't know how, well that will.
But that's great that it's performing so well and it's not that long. And the key is here, and Levi taught me this actually. What was it, Levi? The overuse of B-roll.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's what, to me, really, I think, look, people, as much as we love ourselves and we're realtors and we want to sugarcoat everything and talk about ourselves, that's not what people are looking for, right? They want to see the city. They want you to just give them value right off the bat. And once again, I think I'm saying this to death, but put yourself in your own shoes. When you're searching something, I often look up videos on YouTube, and if somebody comes on and they start blabbing for 2 minutes, and it's like, just get to the video, I usually lose. I'll click on the next one as well.
It's my pet peeve when people get on YouTube and sit there and explain what they're going to talk about for the first 4 minutes of the video. Like, give me the meat. I want to eat. Like, I don't need to know your life story.
Just go into
Let's get to what I'm looking for. And if I have to scroll, my patience is already there. You got one chance.
Yeah, exactly.
If I scroll in that video and you're not hitting me with something I want to see, boom, I'm on to the next video. And YouTube will punish you for that. If people start clicking off your videos like that, forget about it, man. They want people watching your content.
And so, we can kind of talk a little bit more about hooks and effectiveness and how to just get right into it. But it's kind of simple. Try to dummy everything down. Just get straight into the nitty gritty. This is what we're showing you in this video today. Let's go. I mean, literally right off the bat. You had asked, what the view duration. Since this is a shorter video, what I think is more important here is the average percentage viewed. Wow. I'm getting just over 50% of every person that watches this video almost watches half. A lot of people.
Let me see that graph, man. That's insane. Yeah, look at the bottom. I want to see the bottom one. Go down a little bit. Go down to the bottom one. Look, so that's the people. Look how many people he has still watching at the 30-second mark there. Go to the 30-second mark. How many people are watching at 30 seconds? He's at a 74% retainment, which is crazy because a lot of times people will click on things and just click off of it if they don't like it in the first 30 seconds. So whatever he's doing in the
Yeah,
first 30 seconds of that video is amazing because they're sticking around, and then he's hooking them well enough that they're watching all the way
Welcome
through
to
until that very back end,
yeah. And I mean, I think
Destin,
to show you.
Florida, coined America's luckiest fishing village. This place is where you want to be on vacation or live. We're going to cover everything there is to do: eat, sleep, play, real estate, fun in the sun, all that right now. Let's get into it.
Yep.
Right now.
Lots of B-roll.
17 seconds in. So my
B-roll,
hook was
B-roll,
not
B-roll.
2 minutes. Yeah. Just tons of B-roll. So that is the key. And it's funny because I've kind of nerded out on YouTube. I've learned to love the platform. It's been amazing to us. Someone that I always think about is Mr. Beast. If you don't know who that is, he is literally the number one YouTube channel in the world, the number one channel. So it has over like 300 million views, I believe. Subscribers. Okay. More than the average Super Bowl views every video. Like, that's mind blowing. He was offered $1 billion for his channel. It just shows you the power of it. But the reason I talk about him is because he's mastered the intro, and retention. His videos are absurd and he spends, crazy amounts of money. We're not even trying to get to that level. But the point being is, like, he knows how to go straight into the video and have you watch pretty much until the end because it's just so engaging. And so that's
and his
what
thumbnails. A lot of people don't realize how hard Mr. Beast works on his thumbnails. He'll literally go through his thumbnails and he spends 3 or 4 days making these thumbnails. Me, I cannot do it. I hate making thumbnails. I feel like I'm creative, so like if I don't get it the first time, I'm done. And that's the first thing that Levi said to me. He's like, "John, you need to work on your thumbnails." I think it's just because I'm ugly. Truthfully, I think that's why it doesn't work. If I was a hot chick, I think I'd be great.
Yeah, if we were hot chicks, we'd probably get more clicks. But
don't tell the hot chicks that. We're gonna have all the bottle service girls going on YouTube.
All the competition
now. Dude, we'll be toast, bro.
Yeah, we'll be gone. So this is one thumbnail that I just sent out for hire. And that's another thing, guys. If you are like, this whole thing overwhelms you, you're like, oh, I'm not techie. I don't want to edit these videos. I don't want to make thumbnails. I can't do Photoshop, blah, blah, blah. First of all, I do most of it on my phone, real simple stuff. But you can just go to Fiverr.com and pay somebody. I mean, I think I've spent $10 on this thumbnail here, and it's one of my best thumbnails.
Yeah, you look like Fabio on it. I'm all like, every time I see it, I'm like, who's that guy? And then I met Levi in real person. I was like, dude, I expected you to look like one of the guys from Baywatch, bro.
Disappointment. No, 7% is awesome. I mean, you want to strive for like anything between 5 and 10% is pretty good. That's just, the percent is literally like basically saying, like, here's the breakdown right here. They have pushed this thing in front of 357,000 people. Now, 7% of those are clicking on the video. That's fine. Point being is YouTube is just shoving it out there. So it's showing up in people's feeds as they're scrolling. And that's a beautiful thing. So I'm telling you, you can go back in, you can use an app called TubeBuddy, and you can actually do several different thumbnails, and it will alternate them and tell you which one's performing better. So that's one thing you can do. Maybe you're not, sure which one would be more engaging. That's one way you can do that. But if you're looking through your analytics, you've got a video that you just feel like is one of your best videos. It provides tons of value. The engagement's good, but your click-through rate is low. Go in there and tweak that. If you get your click-through rate up 1 or 2%, it will literally equate to thousands of more views.
It's funny you say that because the one video that I have that is doing really well, let me pull it up real quick. So the one video I have that's doing really well here is this video right here. And people are watching this video for 15 minutes, but my thumbnail isn't good. I only got it's crazy. It's something terrible. Here, I'm going to pull it. 2.6 is my click-through
Wow.
rate on this. But dude,
We got to get that fixed for you.
But the thumbnail isn't that bad. I'm kind of happy with the thumbnail. Look, the engagement's off the chain here. 1536 is what I'm doing.
That is huge.
It is huge, but unfortunately, the thumbnail is what's killing me here. But I took your advice on this one, and I went and actually hired somebody to make me a nice thumbnail, and I thought it was pretty good. But I think it's just because I'm ugly. I'm going to be honest. I'm just an ugly guy.
No, that's not it. I'm telling you, you can get something a little bit more like you had mentioned earlier, something that's a little bit more like pulls at the strings. What are the pros and the cons, right? Like, I want to know the truth. And John, I watched that video, man. It is top notch. It is good stuff. If we get you that click-through rate up to like 5%, I mean, you'll double your views.
I wonder what I can do, because it is a pro-con video, and look, even though it's got a slow click-through rate, YouTube's still giving me love here. I mean, the fact that I'm still getting out there, it's got 90,000 views at this point, almost 90,000. It's steadily just done its job, right? Like, it's never been a huge amount of growth there, but it's just steady.
Yeah.
I'm kind of under the impression right now that I don't want to mess with anything, including the what is that called?
I think it can be worth tweaking.
Okay.
And this is experimental.
So let me
right?
ask you this, since we're talking about this, what would be your suggestion on the thumbnail?
So if you want to jump back to my screen, I'll just show you my pros and cons video. My click-through rate is not that much better, but it is a little bit. So here is, hold on, let me scroll. My pros and cons. You see this here? Dude, I look hideous in this video, right? Look at my face. But I'm engaging like almost like the battle of, what is good, what's bad. I think that's kind of the idea here. People they want to know the actual cons. We don't want to sugarcoat too much, but my click-through rate on this is 4.3%.
Okay.
Your video arguably is probably way better than me. Your engagement. So if you just get that thumbnail tweak.
Do you think it might be the pros and cons that people are just burned out because there's been so many agents that have done a pros and cons video, but it's proven that that's what people are looking for. But when they see it, they're just like, ugh, like, I don't want to click on that, or?
Not necessarily, because some people are actually searching pros and cons of the city. I think that a lot of the thumbnails look the same. It's always a thumb up, a thumb down. And I mean, I'm guilty of that in mine. But if you see 10 of those and they all look the same, what's pulling just enough of that weight to the other one? You know what I mean?
Okay. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So I did a new one. So this one, and it's a banger video like that last one that I did. I spent 2 days filming this week. I'm going to spend a week and a half editing it. Currently working on my thumbnail, and my thumbnail skills are sucky. I get this, but I'm trying to, instead of going.
John is a master of video, though.
I'm putting Europe and Florida instead of the pros and cons, because I don't want. Maybe I'll put pros and cons in the title, but I'm just thinking like maybe that pros and cons thing is. I'm not showing my screen here.
I think you're onto something, actually. So, like, I almost think maybe something like the good and the bad is just a less played out version.
Yeah, the pros and cons is just done, and so that's what I'm kind of doing. I'm like Europe and Florida, so that attracts everybody. It's not just people looking in the Emerald Coast, and I'm thinking that might just give enough that people are like, "What the heck's going on back there?" And is there a place that looks like Europe and Florida?
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes, and if it does work, I'll let you know. We'll see.
Yeah, no, this is great, man. This is awesome. And so, I mean, this is it, guys. Like, don't overcomplicate this. Step one is always just getting started. This is one of the most fruitful things in real estate. I mean, you could apply this to almost any business. I think that's what's so crazy about YouTube is I just think often like, I'm seeing, there's an example I saw this guy on farming, because I'm kind of a hippie. I like to watch gardening stuff. I don't really garden that much, but I watch these videos. And there's this guy, he grew this gardening channel, just like backyard DIY, like, grow these vegetables in like a little box, And so I'm watching it and I'm like, that'd be cool to go cook and grab some videos. But he has like 16 million viewers. Um, and I saw him outside of his channel do an interview. He sells like $5 million a year in garden products on his channel. $5 million. And he's not even really promoting it. Like, it's not salesy. He's doing these cool videos and just going, by the way, if you want that, tool, if you want that thing, it's in the description. It's like the power of YouTube is mind blowing.
Well, it's interesting too, Levi. I've had a couple of situations here recently that have come up, and because of the success of the YouTube channel, all of a sudden I'm getting approached by large business owners that want to pay a lot of money for me to start a YouTube page for them. And I'm having to tell them, no, I don't really want to do that right now, because the real estate, as far as I'm concerned, is much more valuable. My channels are much more valuable. And we're looking to branch out. Now that we're successful on the Emerald Coast in Panama City Beach at 30A, we're about to move this to another market that, just like you said, you went someplace and you saw that it didn't have a YouTube channel. Same thing happened to me. I went up to Bryson City, North Carolina. Nobody's doing YouTube there. And I was like, you know what? This is a great opportunity to start a YouTube channel here. That's exactly what I'm going to do. There's so much value in this that if you could start multiple channels and find yourself, somebody that's willing to cut that commission with you, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a partner right now in Bryson City that will go halvesies with me. I'm bringing in the leads. They're going to be so hot. Guys, and this is the thing with YouTube, your vibe attracts your tribe. So whoever starts connecting with you, they trust you right off the bat. So all you have to do is say, hey, I only live there part-time, but I have a buddy here. His name's Brian. He's a great real estate agent there. I'm going to be here helping you guys through this process. I'm going to make sure that everything is taken care of. But Brian is my boots in the sand, and he's going to make sure that the X's and O's gets crossed, which is great, because then I don't have to go get a real estate license from North Carolina. This could be a highly profitable model in a lot of different situations.
Duplicate and replicate. Yeah, you're just creating these videos that last forever and will just generate and generate. Yeah, in my videos at the very end, I just say, hey, my name's Levi Fortner. I run a team here on the Emerald Coast. If myself or my team can help you in any way, give you our undivided attention, give me a call, text, or an email, and we'll take care of you. And I've had people reach out many times and just say, hey, I'm coming in town this weekend. I was hoping somebody from your team could show me around. So, you're almost set it up where it's like they're not necessarily expecting you. They think you're the busiest guy in the world, and you can be from the channel or from real estate life, but it's super organic and powerful.
And let's talk about this too, Levi. And this is our third video that we're creating right now for Partner Disruption. People will get hung up on the fact that they're not successful at first. As of when I looked today, we had 5 views on the last video that we did. We had 1 video on the first video we did. We're probably likely only have 10 on this video. It's not about that at first. Listen, guys, you have to give YouTube time to figure out what it is you're doing, okay, to find your audience for you. And that's why YouTube's so powerful. A lot of people make the mistake and are like, well, let me go purchase, let me do an ad campaign on YouTube, or let me share it on my Facebook page. No, don't do that. Just let YouTube do its job. Be consistent in your content all the time. And that's not just with YouTube. That's with Instagram, TikTok, anything. I had Sarah, my wife. She's incredible, and she's a great short form media content person. But the problem that she was having is that we moved from Memphis, and so she had a large following in Memphis, and now she's sharing a lot of beach related content. And I said, honey, the problem is people in Memphis don't care about the beach. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to completely blow your page up that you currently have and start over again. And is that frustrating? Yeah. But the fact of the matter is she already has a ton of content already shot. So I said, just save all that stuff and then set up a schedule to where you're posting Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every day of the week. I've done this for my commercial clients, for Hook, that's a local restaurant in town. Their engagement, I think we gained 20,000 people on their Facebook pages this summer. Consistency is key here. So always be consistent with any kind of content creation.
And like you said, that it's about a specific thing. And so these channels that we're creating for YouTube are about the area living in, pros and cons, the lifestyle. some real estate, but it's very niche down. I've seen somebody, I had a good friend who had a YouTube channel that he grew to about 5,000 subscribers, and he changed what he was into. And he tried to all of a sudden just switch his channel to like something about tech. And all those people subscribed because they were into what he was doing beforehand. It just absolutely killed the channel because now all of a sudden all these people, you lost that audience. Again, if you're on YouTube yourself, we all subscribe to certain channels, like the gardening guy. If all of a sudden that guy switched and, you know, was about working on cars, half the audience would be like, what the? Unsubscribe, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just stick to it. Understand that. This is something else I just wanted to mention is sometimes people think about like, oh, should we monetize our channel? Monetization happens after you get 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 watch hours, something close to that. I did do that at first and quickly realized that that was actually not the goal. Because one, it will put more ads in your videos, and I don't want my viewers to have as many ads. YouTube will always put some ads, but it puts more. And the return on that is super small because we're not getting millions of views. Your channel's super niche down to your local area. There's not 10 million people searching, you know, your city every day. They're just not.
What did you make, if you don't mind me asking? I just crossed the 1,000 threshold like last month, and believe me, I was like, do I take the money? But you told me not to. So what kind of money do you make off of it once you get 1,000?
I think I was hovering around like 100, 150 bucks a month. And to me, look, here's the thing, right? Is you get one lead that comes in at $400,000 at 3%. That's 10 grand. Don't get caught up on 150 bucks a month. I mean, we're talking, you get several leads a month, as this channel can generate you hundreds of thousands of dollars, 6 figures easy every year, day in and day out, free. You're not paying for any leads. So I just realized, like, you know, if I wanted to go start a channel about working out, that could reach millions and millions of people. It really could. And I could focus on a monetization mindset. But for this channel, don't even think about that. Provide as much value as you can, and you'll reap the rewards.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Levi. I'm John Arroyo with the Mr. Beach team here in Panama City Beach in 30A. If you ever have any questions about YouTube, I'm always an open book. You can reach me anytime at 850-943-7777 or email me at john@mrbeachteam.com. Levi, how would they get in touch with you?
850-545-2264. Feel free to text me anytime, even call me. I'm always down to network with other like-minded agents, people who are trying to grow and level up, and that's what this channel is all about. So stay tuned. And if you guys want to connect with me and John, you want a consultation or just grow or some referral partners, that's what we're here for. So excited to keep this going.
Boom. Had a great time talking to you today, Levi. Next week, I believe we're going to get into some open houses, so that should be a lot of fun. And we're going to see how Levi does an open house. What we're trying to do here, guys, is we're trying to come from a place of service with you. You know, of course, get you to get into what we're interested in and hopefully find our vibe and our tribe here and, you know, walk with you. So we figured this is the best way to do it. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.